Welcome to Real Talk with Real Estate Pros, where we bring you exclusive interviews with the real estate experts. We'll delve deep into their journey to success and learn how to go the extra mile to serve their clients' wants and needs. Let's dive in. Here's your host, John Money McKinley.
Morning, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Real Talk with Real Estate Pros. Today, I've got a great guest on. This is Greg West. I have known Greg West for a very, very long time. He has been an expert in helping clients better understand their credit and, in all honesty, be able to go and take themselves from some credit blemishes and bring themselves back up to standards so they can move forward with their life and get things going again. And today, Greg and I got a really good show. We're going to dive into some real estate news, dive into what's going on around the world of real estate in Houston and in your backyard. And we're also going to take some questions from people that have questions on what's going on with credit as well as finance. And this is going to be a feature we're going to do once a month on the last Wednesday of every month. Greg and I are going to get together on the show. He's going to take credit questions, and we're going to dive into real estate news and see what's really going on in the world. With all of that said, Greg, how are you doing on this fine morning?
Very well, man. Excited to get into it.
Perfect. Well, I really appreciate you being here. And do you have anything you'd like to start with before we start digging into the wonderful news of the day? Anything you'd like to share with the audience?
No, just when we get to the credit questions part, realize I'm not a financial advisor. Do your own research. I base everything on opinion. So
exactly. The same thing with me. Definitely, you can reach out to Mr. West if you want to have one-on-one personal consultations with your credit. And the same thing with me. You can reach out to me directly if you want to have one-on-one consultation with what your real estate options are as far as financing. And like I tell everybody, really trying to build this channel. Please do me a favor, like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Share with local real estate experts you know around town. We're always looking to have new guests on the show, and we are on every Wednesday at 11:30 a.m. Central. Well, let me change the scene here a little bit, Greg, and let me go ahead and let us dig into some of the news here. And all righty. Well, I figured we'd start out a little bit easy today on the news. If anyone remembers this iconic chewing gum, it has been discontinued. Now, this may be dating some of us here as far as how old we are, but it's the classic fruit stripe gum. Do you remember that gum, Greg?
Man, I do. Love that stuff as a kid. We usually eat the whole package in one sitting. Because you need to chew on it till all the sugar's gone, and then get the next one. But yeah, I saw that. I was kind of disappointed.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I remember at least where I'd always find that stuff if it wasn't in my local convenience store, definitely could find it at the Toys R Us.
Huh. No, I never got it there. It was a quick shop up the road from me. That's where I got mine. in my 25-cent baseball cards back in the day. Huh.
Now we're dating ourselves, sir.
Yes, we are. It's probably $3 or $4 now. I don't know.
Remember going into the party store? I tell my son this. I'm like, you realize I could go into the party store, I could get a bottle of soda, a pack of gum, and have a quarter left over to play a game of pinball. Definitely stuff has changed, but unfortunately there's something that's disappeared. But as time goes by, things change and things move forward, and some things disappear. Here's something else I wanted to share with people, because yes, we do talk about real estate, we do talk about mortgages, we do talk about financing and credit, but every now and then I like to get into health. And I know Greg and I have had a lot of conversations over the years. I've known Greg for well over 20 years, and getting into health and better things on what you can do to live a healthy life. I saw this article in People. Scientists say that they'll cut back on bottled water after learning 1 liter contains 250,000 pieces of plastic.
Yeah, that's scary stuff. I actually quit drinking bottled water years and years ago. I actually got a water distiller because one thing people forget with drinking bottled water is what do you cook with? You probably your tap water, and when that stuff starts boiling, it just concentrates what's already in there. So if you can get a water distiller, I highly recommend it. They even make countertop ones, but that plastic stuff's yeah, that's scary, man.
I have a client of mine, a past client of mine. This was a couple of years ago. He was getting poisoning from it, and his doctor told him that it had to do with the bottled water he was drinking. And because he was an on the road salesman, he kept his bottled water. And I'm here in Houston. Okay. In the summertime, it gets a bit toasty, warm. And he was keeping that bottled water inside of his car. And guess what happened? That stuff is just cooking, and that plastic is just absorbing into the water.
Yeah, I've had that before. You can taste the difference. Yeah, for sure.
It's like, I'm sure you remember this too, Greg, once again, dating ourselves, but take a bottle of Coca-Cola. I know Coca-Cola is not a great healthy drink. However, it can be pretty dang tasty if it is in a glass bottle. Take a glass bottle of
Yep,
Coca-Cola and then take a plastic bottle of Coca-Cola. The plastic bottle tastes like garbage.
it does. And of course, to date ourselves, that's back when the glass bottles and the Coke had real sugar in it too, not the corn syrup. But yeah,
Ah, it's kind of like the best way to drink beer is either from the tap or out of the bottle.
yep, yep, for sure.
Such a better taste. But yeah, there's something y'all should definitely check that out, because I know a lot of people, they carry around those plastic water bottles all the time, and I typically use a glass with my water, and or I use a metal water bottle that I can carry with me. And I don't have a distiller like you do. I actually go to a place by my house where they actually filter all the water, pull everything out of it. They even take the fluoride out of it and any other toxins in it, and re-add back in all the minerals, and then get it properly pH balanced. And when I switched to that years ago, I just felt better. I cook with it, drink it. It'll definitely. Uh-oh.
Sorry
I
about
think we
that,
lost
guys. Malfunction. You did. Camera just fell. It's all good.
I was gonna say, has the CIA or the FBI found out where you're at right now and coming to get you because you're going to be revealing some credit secrets later?
I'm in my underground bunker with the above ground window.
Okay. Well, that's a good thing. You got to get the healthy sunlight, sir. Here's something that's interesting. Any of my listeners that are up here in the Montgomery County area over by Lake Conroe, I'm sure you all have heard of this park that was over there off of 105. I think it was by where Wolfie's used to be there, and there was a couple other. Papa's Ice House, I do believe, was over by there as well. But it looks like that park has been closed now. The park on Lake West Shore opened in 1990s with a partnership between Montgomery County and the River Authority and the Texas Park Wildlife. The property is owned by the River Authority, and San Jacinto River Authority is a long-term lease with the Montgomery County for Lake Conroe Park. Once the termination agreement is finalized, we'll explore future operation partnerships, said the San Jacinto River Authority acting general manager, Ed. The 13-acre park featured barbecue pits, picnic facilities, restrooms, as well as swimming areas and fishing piers. The park also included 2 covered pavilions available for rent, and softball field and volleyball areas. And if any of my listeners have ever been there, it wasn't the best park, but at least it was something you could go to and take the family out and go cook up some barbecue and jump in the lake. But unfortunately, it looks like that's closed. Hopefully The Montgomery County and San Jacinto River Authority will get in there and really start cleaning that place up and really maybe take it to the next level and turn it into something really nice.
I saw when you sent me that down at the bottom, looks like they were charging people to go in there.
Oh yeah, it was always a charge.
Huh.
I mean, it's been years
Oh,
and
really?
years since I've been there.
Okay.
I
I guess I'm
want to
not used
say
to that. I can't think of a single just park like that where we charge a fee up here, but it might be one of the reasons people didn't go, but I don't know. Different
yeah, I
place.
want to say last time I went there, it was $5 or $10. They called
Hmm.
it a parking fee.
Oh, well, right. Okay.
Is what they called it. But yeah, like I said, it's been years since I've been there. And then I saw that article. I was like, oh, wow, what the heck is going on? I was blown away by that. And here's something interesting. I'm sure that a lot of my audience knows that we have a little city here in Texas called Austin. As some of you may call it, refer to it as, I call it the San Francisco of Texas. It's a very interesting city. Unfortunately, it's not what it was 25, 30 years ago, but it looks like they were experimented with giving people $1,000 a month. They said that they spent the no strings attached cash mostly on housing, which anybody that's seen what's happened in the wonderful world of real estate since 2020 has realized that our prices have really shot through the roof, along with interest rates going through the roof, and rent has gone through the roof as well. So that's definitely putting a burden on people. Guaranteed basic income. Isn't that called EBI, Greg?
I think it's UBI, Universal Basic Income. Yeah, they're pushing that a lot. Started in Europe, but yeah, I read through that article and they were like, I don't know why they had to do a survey because it's not like nobody would know. Well, the majority of them loved it. Well, I'd say they did, getting money for doing essentially nothing, I guess. But it creates other issues, but we won't get into all that for time. But yeah, they're testing the markets out for that. I would expect that to increase as time goes by, different areas.
I was just blown away that it happened here in Texas. Isn't there a song that goes something, "You get your money for nothing," something like that? I want to remember. There's a song that I remember.
Yeah, and chicks for free or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Money for
Wow.
nothing. Yeah, oh, man.
Austin was the first city in Texas to launch the taxpayer-funded. Oh, wait a minute. So it's not free money.
No, not for taxpayers. No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the program we built as a means to boost people out of poverty and help them to affordable housing. That should be very, very interesting.
Yeah, I
Then we
get to
have
be.
here. Say what?
No, go ahead.
No, I was said. Then we have here talking about getting into. Oops, come on, computer. Houston area home sales increase for the first time since early 2022, real estate expert says. The first real glimmer of hope for a market that has suffered with with high mortgage rates, low inventory, and high home prices. The Houston housing market rebounded from a prolonged slump in November, with sales rising for the first time in 19 months, which is a good thing. I know I had a great guest on my show last week. His name was Austin, and he was talking about he's definitely he's a real estate broker as well, and he's been seeing a definite increase in people putting homes on the market and seeing a lot more properties on the market, which is a good thing, because as I've always said, you've got an extreme of both things. You can have a market to where nothing's selling, and it takes 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 plus months to sell something. That's a very unhealthy real estate market. The same thing is if you have a market where if I put a sign in my front yard and in a day or two, I've already got a contract on it.
Yeah.
That is highly, highly, that's just as negative a market. Now, where you're at, how have you seen the real estate market going? Have you dug much into what's going on in the world of real estate where you're at?
Not a whole lot, but I do see a lot of. Ours is a little different though. We're getting a lot of people paying cash. We're getting a lot of Californians, Colorado, and we're getting a lot of people moving in and basically buying these places without even looking at them first. I would say probably due to the cheap pricing of things here. Um, $250,000 house here is probably million and a half, Texas, California. So what they're doing is they're selling and moving in. So I would say the market's probably still pretty good here. Now, the only thing I notice it's not doing so well because I'm seeing a lot of for rent signs in our commercial areas over here. A lot of small businesses going down, man.
Yeah, I've been seeing that happen as
Oh,
well here too.
we even had our big corporate Dunham's sporting goods store shut down here. So
Really?
yeah, yeah. They got other stores, but they closed this one down. And it's a fairly decent sized town with a university in it. So
Wow. I know my son last year was working for a mom and pop owned restaurant slash bar, just a private owned, they made good food, had drinks and everything, and thought they had a good business going. And then they let the whole staff know that, hey, we're going to be closing down, but they took good care of the staff. They
that's good.
closed out properly, had a big shindig for letting all the customers know that we're happy there. But it was unfortunately just another small business that has gone the way of the best economy ever.
Yeah, coming there. Oh yeah. Gee. Don't have enough episode to talk about that. Maybe next time.
And then we've got the average price of a home in Houston was up 1% last month compared to November 2022 to $597,000, with the median price decline. While the median price declined slightly to $326,000. Which still
that's good for y'all.
Yeah, that still just amazes me at how expensive just the average homes have become in Houston. I mean, when I got started in the world of real estate, I was actually in construction. I remember I was an electrician wiring houses that were 100, 125, $150,000, and that's where the rich folks lived.
Yeah. Well, it's here that a single person can't really afford a home for the most part, unless you're making at least 50 to 70,000 without much debt. Kids out of college are having a tough time. That's why so many of them are living with their parents because they have to, not because they want to.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's another thing that we've seen too, is you got to remember, back when you and I were younger, I remember renting an apartment for 250, 275 a month.
Yeah. Yeah. My first 2-bedroom after a kid was $325, I think.
Yeah.
Survived on $1,200 a month. You can believe that. Of course, that's back in the early 90s. But
Oh yeah. I mean, it's amazing. Was it the best part of town? No, but it was safe. It was nice. And
yeah.
I didn't have to worry about walking outside my door and having any issues.
Now those same apartments now, because they're still around, are close to 1,200 now for the same thing.
Oh yeah. I would bet where I was at before, those apartments are probably 1,200 plus.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's stuff has definitely gone through the roof. And now let's dig into what's going on with our nice folks at the Federal Reserve, because you and I know, Greg, that is the most trusted organization out there ever.
Oh, it's got federal in it. It has to be.
Exactly, but it's not federal. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't think we're allowed to say that. I don't want YouTube giving us a strike or Facebook giving us a strike. But, oh, look, it's time for the Fed to cut interest rates and bring relief to Americans who cannot afford to pay rent, says Elizabeth Warren. We know she's an expert.
Mm-hmm. You know,
Americans
she's had hundreds and hundreds of bills proposed, and I think she's had one go through. I don't know what they use her for except for fear, I guess.
Well, here's the thing is one of the biggest problems we have with the price on the housing, okay? It's it's a little bit with the interest rates, but a lot of it is the lack of inventory. You have to remember for a long time after we had the last great mortgage meltdown, we had an overabundance of inventory, which caused the building to completely stop. Well, we've had a large increase of population since 2008, but we have not seen the same increase in production of housing.
Right. Yeah.
Then you factor on top of that people with the low interest rates going, why do I want to sell my house now when I'm sitting at 2, 3%? I can stay where I'm at and not have to worry about going and getting something else that's going to cost me twice as much. So that's another factor there. And part of that problem is, in my opinion, is administration after administration kept the interest rates held too low for too long.
They did too much easy money. Now they've overcompensated um, with the false pretense that raising interest rates helps with inflation, which is BS. That's not how it works. There's no way they'll ever get above the interest or the inflation rate by raising it. It'd have to go to 15% to do anything. But that's what they did in the 80s, and it worked. But there wasn't as much debt. There wasn't as much. It was a different time.
Exactly. And we are at the highest debt rate ever in American history right now.
Yeah, yeah. You shut it off now. There's no. Without debt-based lending, this whole thing's going to fall. So they're going to lower the rates. They have to keep this kicking this can down the road for a while.
It's like I always tell everybody, if you want to know what's going to happen with the interest rates, you really want to listen to what the Fed tells you because they're the ones that control it. I have a lot of talking heads that I listen to in my world of mortgages, and most of them are wrong. It's like, just listen to the feds. See what the Fed is telling you. They will literally tell you, they will telegraph everything for you.
They will. And this article makes it look like the Congress tells them it's the other way around. But anyway, won't get into that either.
Exactly. Well, now I'd like to move into our new section, our new addition that I've added to it because I want to make sure that we're delivering real estate news that happens every place around. I'm even going to take us to another level of real estate now. So I'll let our other co-host here kind of introduce this next segment.
For real estate in space, where only NASA knows if it's real or if it's CGI.
That's a handsome fellow.
Exactly. He's not an AI. He's a real man. Oh, let's go to this one first. Next real estate frontier. Say hello to Lunarians and Martians. So it looks like now we're going to go to the moon, Greg, and we're going to go to Mars, according to this incredible article. But wait a minute. I'm looking here. The last time humankind stepped onto the lunar surface was 1972.
I read that, and I was like, they might be overly optimistic here. Let's start with just going back there and see how that goes.
I was
building crap.
Exactly. Yeah. Since that time, NASA has had many setbacks, with the Challenger explosion being at the top of the list. But not only do they plan to have astronauts back on the moon by 2025, Greg, that's just next year.
Well, that'd be a good start. We'll see how it goes. I'll believe it when I maybe see it. We'll see.
I got a bridge I want to sell you if you think that's going to happen.
Well, the technology is much better than it was in 1972, so you'd think they'd get it done, but we'll see how it goes.
Because you got to remember, if you look back, after I saw this article, I was digging into it. Do you realize every president since Reagan has stated during their term we were going back to the moon,
Yeah, yeah. Boots on the moon.
including
Netflix, Space Force.
exactly
You
Space
haven't
Force?
seen that? That's a good show. It's got Steve Carell in it.
Oh, okay. I
Their
would
their
just
common goal is boots on the moon, boots on the moon. They want to get their military up there. It's funny. So,
well, you got to have the show to go along with the other narrative. You have to keep it in
yep.
line. You understand?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, not to be outdone by NASA, because that this man here, SpaceX CEO, and I know this man is loved by so many, the autistic man himself, Elon Musk. He's got what, 12 corporations he's running?
He does a lot.
Yes, yes. But he's planning on going back to Mars and the moon as well. SpaceX CEO Elon Musk on Saturday stated that the rocket producing business will be developing a spaceport station on Mars and the moon, Greg.
Oh, wow.
Huh.
Buy me a ticket.
Yeah. What occurred? Musk prepares to construct a self sufficient city on Mars by providing enough payload to the world with a Starship launch car in 2023, mind you. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. In 2023, Musk stated that he intends to reach Mars by, oh no, 2033.
Oh, noes. Not the 33.
Uh huh.
It's a powerful
And
number.
And establishing a flourishing base upon Mars in 15 years. In truth, Musk has formerly even voiced his image passing, voiced his image passing away on Mars. Oh, so he's going to die on Mars, he says.
Well, guess it'd be worse places to go.
Yeah, I'm gonna put my money. And we've got this all recorded now. This is here in the Ethernet forever out there, that I'm going to put my money down that all these numbers from NASA and Mr. SpaceX feller there, yeah, they're going to come and go.
That's probably a good bet.
I'm just saying. I'm going to throw that out there, sir.
That's a pretty safe bet.
I think so. I think so. Well, what I'd like to dive into now, Greg, is I'd like to dive into some questions here, because we got some questions from folks. Let me change how this screen looks. I'll figure out how to make this thing work eventually. One of these days. Oh, there we go. There we go. All righty. Okay. All righty. I've got some questions here. And the first question is from Chris. Can consolidating my debt help improve my credit?
It can. Depends what kind of debt it is. I mean, I would say, and you probably know this better than I, most refinances or consolidation involves credit card debt, probably. And being that credit card utilization, which is how much you owe compared to what you have access to, is 30% of your score. Yeah. Now, if after you've done it, don't run the cards back up, you'll be fine. But yeah, that should raise the score sometimes substantially, because it's such a big part of your score. So yeah, absolutely it can.
And I always tell people as well too, because I know right now we're in a time, like we were talking earlier, that yes, there's a lot of people that have low interest rates on their homes, but let's be honest, there are a lot of people with an incredible amount of equity. And unfortunately, because of the times have changed, inflation's gone through the roof, people are hurting a little bit and they've maxed out their credit cards. There is an option that people can do, is you can take a look at either selling, but a lot of people don't want to sell because then they have to go find a place to live. But they do have the option, if their credit is not too bad, to look at going, okay, I'm going to pull cash out of my house and I'm going to take that money and eliminate the other debt. Even though they took a higher interest rate, they're still saving 5, 6, 7, 800, 900, even over $1,000 a month in a lot of cases than they were paying all those credit cards.
Yeah, and that's important. A lot of people tell you don't do that because it's dumb to do so, but it's not when it fits your situation. If you're going to have to spend less monthly, then it doesn't matter if you're paying a higher rate on the mortgage. You're paying way less than you would on 20, 30% credit cards. But also, I would caution if that is your plan, you need to get sooner than later, because if you're going to continue to stack up credit card debt, your score is going to continue to decline. And if it gets too low, then you won't be able to borrow yourself out of the mess. So if you're looking at doing something like that, and you're like, say your credit card utilization is 40, 50%, and you procrastinate and you see you're still going backwards and it gets up 80, 90%, you're scored low 600s, high fives, you've lost your opportunity probably to be able to refinance and take care of that.
Exactly. And I always tell people that as well, too, because once you start maxing out your credit cards, your score starts dropping very, very quickly. And unfortunately, then you get to a point where your score is too low to be able to do a cash out refinance and pull that money out to pay off the debt. Now you're kind of stuck, because there's a lot of people that have thousands of dollars a month just in credit card payments.
Absolutely.
But they're going, well, I'm only paying $1,800, $1,900 a month on my mortgage with everything. But I show them the math and go, okay, you got $1,500 a month in credit card payments. I'm going to take your current mortgage. That's going to change. We're going to go up to $2,500, $2,600, but we're eliminating that $1,500.
Yep.
That puts them in a much better position, because, oh yeah, their payments went up by $500, but they're still saving $1,000 a month. And I always tell people, when you do that, you just can't touch those cards anymore. You can't go back and do it again, because there's only so much money you can pull out of your house, especially here in Texas.
That's the key. You got to be disciplined to not use them again. Live cash only there till you get better situation.
Exactly. And then I have our next question, and this one's from Taylor. They ask, how often should I check my credit report for errors?
My opinion's changed on this a lot in the last few years. I used to tell everybody yearly, because you could get a free copy once a year anyway. But since COVID, and then with the financial situations going on, the annualcreditreport.com website actually lets you get it weekly now if you wanted to. So it can't hurt. I'd say monthly if you don't have time every 6 months, but it can't hurt to check. And mainly because of all the scams going on, I get several calls a week, and it's happening through text. Like, I had a lady call me 2 days ago. She got an alert. My credit scores went down 50 points. So she calls me and wonders what the heck's going on. And I'm like, well, where'd it come from? Supposedly it was Equifax, but then the link in the text wasn't an Equifax link. So you guys got to be careful with that stuff. And a lot of people that are hacked, they're not hacked. They just stupidly gave away their information by putting on a phishing site. And they're using text more than email recently to do stuff like that. So answer the question. If you want to check it weekly, go ahead. Can't hurt. You just log in. Doesn't take long. Just look out for inquiries that you didn't do, things like that. Just keep an eye on it.
And that's another good thing. I'm glad you brought that up. There's a lot of phishing stuff going on. And I tell people, these emails you get, these texts you get, you've really got to dig into it deeper before you start logging into it, because they're trying to grab information and they're basically trying to steal stuff from you, trying to steal your credit.
And the texting's really bad because people think it's gospel, man, because it's new sort of communications, and they've just started moving over into the scam parts with the texting. So.
Well, we are coming to the end of the show here, Greg, and I want to tell my audience, thank you very much for tuning in, and please remember to like, subscribe, and share this out with your friends. And that's my text number right there in the screen. If you know somebody you think would be a great guest that's a real estate expert to have on the show, please shoot me a text. I'd love to chat with them and have them on the show. Or if you have any questions about anything on mortgages or financing for home financing, please feel free to reach out to me. And Greg, how can people get a hold of you if they want to get some credit consultations? And I know we were talking the other day, you've got something really good right now that you've put together that can help a lot of people with their credit, yet not really be a very expensive thing for them to have to do to get their credit up in line.
Yeah, what I did is I've had full service credit restoration for 25 years or so now. And about 6 months ago, and it's popular demand. I always had a lot of people, once their contracts expired, because I gave 2 years of service, asking, well, how can I continue to use you? And sort of, I'm like, well, I'm not on a retainer. So I put together some sort of, it's a self-help console program, very affordable, cost you what would a couple cups of coffee would be monthly. And it gives you 24, or not 24/7 access, but it's unlimited contact by email, text, or phone. And then I contact you on a monthly basis. We look over credit reports, look for fraud, and teach you how to do what I do, but you have to do it digitally online. So, but it's a more affordable option because times are tough, man. So that's the program. And my number's there. Doesn't cost anything to talk to me. I'll push you in the right direction.
Well, that's great. Well, I appreciate it, Greg. You have a great week, and we will see you next month. And once again, everybody, I appreciate y'all tuning in and make it a fantastic week. Y'all take care.
Thank you. You too, buddy.
Thank you.